Got
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Aisha Sisters Show. Hello, everyone. I'm Honey, here with my beautiful co-host, Queen Sue, my sister Dee Woo from Michigan, and my beautiful sister from Fatima from Indianapolis.
Peace
We
and love.
we will have a guest on our show, Tonya Beck Williams. She's a doula and a social worker. Today's topic is Black maternal health. Before we begin, you guys, I would like to open this up with a prayer so that we can let God in and there will be more of Him and less of us. Palms up, everyone. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Rahman Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka nabudu wa iyaka nasta'in. Indina Senator Mustaqim. Senator Latina Aelta Alehem. Gairel Megubi Alehem. Walada. Amen.
me.
All right, you guys, we're going to go to our first commercial break before we start our segment.
Should I go?
All right, all right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please take this time to like and subscribe and share our podcast. We appreciate all the viewership. Okay, you guys. So now, each year in the United States, hundreds of women die during pregnancy or in the year after. Black women are 3 times more likely to die from a pregnancy-related causes than white women. Multiple factors contribute to these disparities, such as variation in quality health care, underlying chronic conditions, structural racism, and implicit bias. Social determinants of healthcare prevent many people from racial and ethnic minority groups from having fair opportunities for economic, physical, and emotional health. Please, guys, welcome our guest, Tonya Beck Williams. Hey, Tonya.
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Hi, Tanya.
Hey, how you doing?
Good to see you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Tonya, give us a little brief introduction about yourself and what you do.
Absolutely. My name is Tonya. I am a current birth doula and postpartum doula. Doula is considered the one that mothers the mother, and being more inclusive, we support the birthing family through pregnancy, labor and delivery, postpartum, and even prior to getting pregnant. We are a companion that supports the birth, and we offer like comfort measures, continuous care, support for the whole family, not just the person that's giving birth. So that might include physical support, emotional support, spiritual, to the birthing person and partners as well.
All right.
My background is I had been a social worker and loved it, loved serving families, loving seeing people empowered to live their best life and offer resources to help them along the way as they work through that wellness. I had a doula, a sister from Venezuela, and I didn't know how important that would be. And 10 years later, I actually answered the call to become a doula as well during COVID.
And could you explain to the ladies what a doula does? Tell us about what a doula does.
Absolutely. So we are evidence based. Everything that we do, we have researched and it's backed by um, research that has been provided. We noticed we provide positive communication between our clients and their other providers. So it kind of opens up the dialogue to help them ask questions, advocate for themselves, and be able to say the things that they want during their pregnancy and support things that they don't. And we support all birthing preferences and options. It's a very inclusive practice. We help the family advocate for themselves. I think that's the most empowering thing. And we encourage the family to be seen and heard. And when they're not, we help them be seen and heard in their birth team and also at appointments. And it starts way before the actual birth delivery. We're non judgmental, unbiased, emotional, and physical support.
Beautiful, beautiful. You ladies have any questions for Tonya?
I have a question. So, what's the easiest part of being a doula for you, and what's the hardest part of being a doula for you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say the easiest part is being able to love on families and to see the strengths in them, to see the good that's led them up to this place. It's a huge milestone to be pregnant or be trying to get pregnant or to get pregnant after having losses. So I think that that's probably the highlight of being able to just pour love into them. I think the hardest part is practicing what we preach as doulas. As a community doula, I'm encouraging them to drink water, get out there and walk. We're doing yoga. So then I had to step my game up and started doing more of my exercise and keeping up as well, because we know that our health is our wealth. And if I talk about it, I need to walk it.
All right.
Okay.
That, that's a good point. I think to be to be the person that you are when you bring in a message is to walk. You do the walk, and then everyone else will follow along. So I believe that that's really beautiful, and I think it's a great thing that you're doing in the community for to make awareness. Um, Knowledge is power. So I
Yes.
commend you on the thing that you're doing, and I hope us as the Aisha sisters, we will be fully supporting you in this walk as well.
Thank you. Thank you. And I will tell you, there's doulas, there's so many people that have been in their family that have been the go-to person. If someone's expecting or if they're trying to get pregnant, they go to a family member. Or if they are getting ready to go into labor and delivery, or after you have babies, who's going to watch the baby? Who's going to do laundry? Who's going to help me breastfeed? We have that already in our families sometimes, and it's bringing it back to that.
Yes.
One of the things I love to talk about is, we have to go back to collect the good so we can go forward. Sankofa. And I truly believe that, and this doula work reminds me of that. And there are more doulas out here than we even realize. We may not call them that, but they are people that support us in the village and in the circle.
So, excuse me, what other name does they have besides doula in your field?
Yes. Well, many people are doing the work like home births. And so they facilitated and help people give birth at home and not in the hospital.
Hmm.
Um, it may be considered that a midwife might have a person that assists them that is also a doula, but they may not be called that. Um, in some communities around the world, it's just known that the women and the families are going to circle around the birth person and their family and cook for them and do things for them and watch the children and help them do things while they sleep. They could be doing things in the house or running errands for them. So I think it's like an informal way that we've always done it, especially in our Black community. And I
Yeah.
think we've stepped away from it because we've also been busy. We've been tired. We've been busy. So we're trying to restore some of that village and circle keeping back.
Right. So, saying that a doula is not the same as the midwife who delivers the baby, right?
That is correct. That's a good question.
Hmm.
One of the things that I love and I respect midwives, they definitely have a different role, even
Hmm.
though we all play a great solution with families. One of the things that doulas do not do, we don't provide medical advice. We want that to be something that comes from a midwife or their OB and their team at wherever they seek care. That could be a birth center or other. We do not make decisions for our clients. We want them to be empowered to ask questions and get informed so they can make their own decisions because a person knows their body better than anybody.
Correct.
We also we support birth, period. And so it isn't, we don't just call it natural birth. We are not birth can happen in lots of different ways. So we have to be flexible to support the family. It could be a vaginal, it could be C-section, it could be another way where
Hmm.
there's an emergency that things have to happen, and we have to be willing to flex and support the family. We don't take the place of a partner, and we don't offer like a personal opinion of I would do this if I were you. We want to know what the person is thinking, what they want to do, and help them write that in their plan and verbalize that. And we don't perform any medical tasks that the midwives would perform.
I kind of wish when I was having kids that I had a doula. I had preeclampsia. I
Yes,
was extremely just never felt well, just always a bad day in my pregnancy. And ended up having my daughter 4 weeks early, and she while she was tiny, we knew that she would have to come out early, so I had steroid shots, I had just all kinds of, and I had an amnio, just all kinds of stuff, and I wish I would have had that support. I mean, of course mom, sisters, cousins are great, but somebody who just wholeheartedly, unbiasedly wants what you want in the situation and is going to help you
yes.
go for it. I think that's magic.
Oh yeah.
You are so right. And oftentimes we don't, you remember your birth story, right? All the highs and the lows. You can't help but remember the story and having gone through it, and you realize you have more strength than you ever thought you had. And I will tell you, in our Black community, preeclampsia and hypertension are the highest complications that we have. And when we get an opportunity, we're talking to the community about how can we support you in those things prior to pregnancy. But you're right, during the pregnancy, you want to be able to know, am I doing everything that I can? Are they doing everything that they can to support us when there is preeclampsia and hypertension, diabetes, and helping us manage those things during the pregnancy? You're right.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful to know that we have other means of support in our community to help us with things that we wasn't aware of. So, like I said, I steady keep on sending out complete complete command. A good vibe about the whole situation. It's always good. Like I said, knowledge is the power that we need, and it's good that you all are moving up the ladder where y'all are being known more and more and more around to let us know that we are. accessible and able to get the help from you guys, because a lot of things we wasn't aware of that was going on that could help us in a lot of matters. And like you said, preeclampsia and high blood pressure was a lot of things that back, when we was having babies and the girls was having baby now was suffering from it. We lost a lot of our women to death in their birth because of not having somebody to go along with them and let them understand and be supportive, because high blood pressure brings you stress.
Yes.
That's where the stress comes from. And so that you all being the side and walking with each individual, that's giving them a comfort blanket, even if they're not getting it from their spouse, even if they're not getting it from their family members and stuff. So I just commend you on a great job that you guys are doing.
Thank you. I will tell you, maternal health is every day. So when they tell us, oh, we're celebrating for 1 week, we know in our communities we have to celebrate managing our health in so many ways on a daily basis. And we need this circle. That's why I really was so curious and interested, and the love for the sisterhood that you have, because I really believe that as we have community and we have others to talk to and build resources, we help the next generation as well as feeding our soul. And the other thing I was thinking about as a doula, one of the things that we do as prevention is not being isolated. And so when you're out in a small circle or a larger group where you feel loved and supported and someone values your worth and your opinion, your pregnancy goes better. Your parenting goes better. And then as grandma and grandparents, you get to give that back. But let me tell you, the gatekeepers for most families is the mother or the parent to the birthing person. And there have been many of grandmas that have said, "Listen, we don't need no doula. We got this. The family knows." But there have been so many other examples where we're able to join the birth team and support the whole family, where we're not a threat to them. We're an added support. And there are partners that are like, "I can't do this." Then we help coach them through. Here are some comfort measures. Here's some things that you can say and not hurt their feelings and not be so blunt during the pregnancy, because during pregnancy our hormones are all over the place. So we're coaching them. Sometimes we're coaching grandmas. I had a grandma that said, "Okay, I give you permission to be her doula." And I had to respect that, because if she hadn't given me that permission, it would have been harder to support my client. So she gave that approval in their family. That means she trusts me around her daughter in this
Right.
delicate time.
Yes, yes. A user said, "Yes, I agree. I started to get a doula with the birth of my daughter. I ended up not doing it. Wish I would have, because I had diabetes and preeclampsia. Hospitalization stay was longer and ended up getting rehospitalized after being sent home. Black communities definitely need to utilize these services."
I was gonna ask a question. When I know going to the doctor is one thing, but I don't think doctors' offices even offer doula services. Like, are you guys staffed with hospitals, or do you guys have doctors? Like, how do you guys generate business? I'm sure word of mouth is probably the biggest one you have, but I would think that would be useful for all doctors' offices to say, hey, if you need additional support services, we have doulas. You guys partner with them.
Yes, that's a really good question. I have to tell you, sometimes that can be a huge make or break in someone's care. A lot of professionals that work inside of hospitals don't necessarily have a staff with the doula on it. But what we do is we would get referrals prior to, like, say, the clinic that they go to or the birth center that they would go to, or word of mouth is always our best referral, because if it's good, someone will tell 5 people. But if it's a bad service, they will tell 20 people. So word of mouth is always the best. I will tell you, we're always educating um, medical staff, because they are trained in a medical space and they are very wonderful at what they do. They go through many years of training, but the work that we do, is sometimes after 5 and on the weekends and on the holidays. And just if they have a question, they can do a telehealth visit or they can do a text message at 3 in the morning. It doesn't, we have to educate medical staff that we are not in competition on any of the roles that they do. We're an added support. So I will tell you that's something that we are constantly doing when they let us into those spaces. And there are some midwives that totally get it because once upon a time, they didn't want midwives in hospitals. So
Wow.
midwives have returned back, and midwives are more diverse now, culturally and ethnically, and people want the care that they want. So people are asking, I want a doula that's specific to my culture. I want someone that understands my walk of life and where I've been. And then we have advocates in the community, like with WIC and the Department of Public Health. We will have better luck with our staff and team partners there because they would make the referral after seeing the family. Hey, we have flyers. Are you interested in having a support? And one of the other things that I love is our flyers now reflect us, not just some other random person, but they are more culturally congruent, and it asks about, hey, pregnancy, childbirth, but even after the baby arrives. We can help with some of that planning as far as education on childbirth. Labor support is huge, and nurses are busy, doctors are busy. So when we can provide, like I have a 50 ways to find comfort, right? Before you actually get to labor, like that non active pushing, but you're going through it. We go through some of those things prior to delivery. Breastfeeding support, which by the way, this week is Black Breastfeeding Week. And it's one of the things that we have to remind ourselves in our community that natural breast milk is a way to feed our babies. We want you to feed the babies, but sometimes people don't know what to do or they don't think they have time. So we offer that support and also referrals when needed. One of the other things I love about being a community doula is that we help them access healthcare and other resources. Say someone has trouble paying their rent, say they need their car fixed, say they need a $25, $50 gift card to groceries or gas to get to their appointments and other things like work. Because most of my clients are outside of the home during the day and night, and they need other resources as well. So we work with some of those other systems that sometimes families are intimidated about how and where to access those things. I will tell you, Iowa and Illinois Department of Public Health, HHS, they see the numbers. We see the numbers. When we say on a national level that African American women are dying 3 times more likely in childbirth and after childbirth. And I heard someone say, hey, going back to the hospital was even more traumatic than giving birth. Those times are really delicate. And so I think on a national level, we are seeing those numbers. And I'm going to tell you, Iowa is 6 times more likely. And we are the most developed nation in the world. And we have some of the worst numbers for maternal health. And so we have to do better. And so I'm not going to pretend like some of those disparities are not related to racism, systematic racism. So, as much as we're supporting the family and the clients, and we're also educating the medical staff, we also realize there's a huge system that we have to access and help families advocate for themselves.
Okay,
And
okay.
We
when
Now,
someone
you guys
has,
are a voice for the voiceless.
yes.
yes, and sometimes just walking in the room, someone may think, why do you have a doula? And there are places in the world now, I know y'all know because Chicago is one of these. There are people that have had doulas and they pay a lot of money for doulas. Some people think it's just a middle class luxury. Let me tell you, anyone that needs a doula, to us, deserves a doula. So that's why we do have access to grants that can provide either no cost or low cost if they do, or they are on public assistance, or they do get food stamps or medical through the state, and we're pushing for that, right, at a policy level. And there's fine if people want to private pay. There are people that do that as well. But some people don't know that they would qualify if they would just access public health and ask the question.
Okay.
It's funny, you were reading my mind because I was just thinking, like, is that like an appropriate question to ask? Are doulas expensive? Like, what is the scale? You were talking about you were in St. Louis.
Let me tell you, honey, when I first had a doula, now this sister was my friend, right? So she's, for all practical purposes, she looks like me. Her first language is Spanish and she's Latino, but we're sisters. And she said, well, you're pregnant. You're going to need a doula. I said, listen, I can't afford that. My husband's going to say no. Like I had every excuse in the world. And I was a social worker, right? And so she was just like, no, no, no. This is to help you get through the pregnancy. I did this in my country in Venezuela. And I was like, oh, but I had heard that it's really expensive. I had heard that you have to do all these different things. And I realized, oh, this is somebody that helps me along the way. And it was invaluable, absolutely invaluable, and a better outcome as far as what I remember from my birth experience. I had less interventions at the hospital, which research now we see shows when people do have a support person, such as a doula, they have better outcomes or they feel more empowered or they feel like they had a better experience, right? From their birth and postpartum. And sometimes we encourage, I know you were mad at that nurse. I need you to go back to that appointment next week and do that non stress test. Do you want me to go with you? And sometimes just being in the room will help to relieve tension. And when someone said, I think it was Queen Sonia, stress kills. So we have to learn to manage our stress, particularly during pregnancy. But everything that we had, like preeclampsia, hypertension, diabetes, we really have to monitor that much more when we're pregnant.
Definitely. Now, on that note, you guys, we got to take a brief commercial break. We'll be right back with more from our guest, Tonya Beck Williams. The topic is Black maternal health. Stay tuned, guys.
Thank you.
Everybody, come on! You know I can't.
All right, all right. Peace and love cruise coming soon. We're back with the Aisha Sisters Show. I am Honey, along with my co-host Fatima, D. Wu, and Queen Sue, and our very special guest Tonya Beck Williams. Now, I want to play this brief clip, and I want you to enlighten us on this, Tonya.
This time, for our monthly feature, Meet the BIPOC Press, we're going to return to the topic of birthing while black. Now, I've never been pregnant, but not because I feared going into labor would kill me. As a middle-class white woman, the chances are slim. But death in childbirth is a stark reality for black families. Providers hear from black patients who start fearing dying as soon as they find out they're pregnant. Partners are terrified they will lose their loved ones. The fact is, giving birth in this wealthy modern nation of ours is 3 to 4 times more likely to kill you if you're African American than if you are of any other race or ethnic group. And as Linda Villarosa documented in that book, that's regardless of income, wealth, region, or education. It's about race and gender and the unique discriminations that black women face. So who is listening? Who is caring? And what can be done?
Okay, Tonya.
Oh, yes. That's interesting that she said that. That's a good clip right there. I will tell you that we are not strangers to understanding how classism and racism affects how people may treat us or see us. We see that in our workplaces sometimes. We might see that on our block in housing, right? We might see that in other community spaces where we may volunteer or receive services. There's overwhelming research that shows that systematic racism within healthcare is part of the problem. It's a big part of the problem. And so, even when a white lady says that, she could see how that could be a problem. And let me tell you, I've met clients that say, listen, don't leave when they get ready to take me under, or they're going to go into a C-section. And we're right there in the process, right? Through labor and delivery. And it's real. Like, it's not a joke, and it's real. And what we try to do is to make sure that we are building a good relationship with our clients and also listening to them and helping them empower to ask what they want rather than focusing on what they don't want. We do affirmations with families and especially pregnant persons. I want you to give me the 7 I ams that who you are and who you see your baby to be. I want you to envision your baby, girl, boy, healthy. See that picture in your heart, keep praying about it, and you work toward that. You talk to the baby, sing to the baby, read scripture to the baby. Yes, they can hear you. So, part of the ways that we begin to address that is prior to labor and delivery, but there are so many people that are afraid that they won't walk out of the hospital.
Mhm.
Wow.
You're absolutely correct.
And it's a real fear. Like, we hear stories on the news, but then we don't hear a lot of the stories that happen. And sometimes I will tell you one of the biggest myths that we hear is, hey, it comes from back in the day when people think, oh, they're just saying that they're in pain. They're not in as much pain they are. When a person says they're in pain or discomfort, or if someone comes in and says, I think I'm in labor, believe them. When they say, you know what, I just don't feel like myself, we want providers to listen and assess, not send them home, not think that they can tolerate more pain because of the color of their skin, um, not think that they might need comfort so that they might be. I had a person say, I can't prescribe her any meds. What if she's a drug addict? And I was like, do you say that to about all of your clients? And you think, hey, if that's an implicit bias that someone may have, we have to continue to educate them so that they can see people non-judgmental and see them as human and see them that you're able to support their birth and put your other stuff out the door or not be there.
So, Tanya, you said I have to go back because I think what you said is so deep. You said that a woman can take or withstand more pain because of the color of her skin. That's a deep statement in itself to say because we're black. Yeah, I know we strong because black women are we some
Listen,
tough
we
we some
strong.
toughies out here. But
Yes.
to say we can withstand more pain because of the color of our skin, that's deep. That just struck me.
Lift that out.
Yes. And let me tell you, we have had, as a doula, you have to go through so much training of the history of medical care. And many of you have probably seen this throughout life or through experiences. Medical care has changed a lot, right? There was once upon a time,
Huh?
African American folks weren't at hospitals, they weren't allowed. So they had to give birth at home with the midwife or whoever that would help facilitate that birth. But then going into the hospital, birth is big business. And so there's lots of things that they may do to care and comfort, but it also costs, like the medical insurance or out of pocket as well. And we've seen the research at the when you're going through medical school. There was once upon a time that it was believed that we didn't feel pain, or that there were times where if they had to experiment and find out if something was going to work in gynecology, they would use the indentured servants on the plantation or other to experiment. So that's history that is not deniable. Like that's real. And so that's from old days, but don't think it doesn't creep into the system every once in a while, and that bias shows up sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true.
And that goes way back. Once upon a time, there were the person that was birthing, the woman, the person that's birthing would be knocked out completely. People
Hmm.
didn't think that you needed to be awake to have a baby. I'll get the baby out of you, and then you'll be able to have the baby. Or a partner or husband or other wouldn't even be allowed in the room. So imagine not having any support. So that history from medical has changed so much up into this day, but there's still more that we have to continue to address and correct.
Okay. Now I have another video for you, Tonya. I want to discuss this one too.
Okay.
Democratic Congresswoman Lauren Underwood joins us from Naperville, Illinois. Good morning to you, Congresswoman.
Good morning, Margaret. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you very much for saying that. Happy Mother's Day to all mothers out there. Can you tell me, with those mothers in mind, why are so many American women dying?
So we know that the United States leads the industrialized world in maternal deaths. And since 2018, maternal deaths have increased 89%. We've seen deaths among moms in all racial and ethnic groups. And a lot of that has been due to the COVID pandemic. 80% of these deaths are preventable. We know why moms are dying, and we know what policy solutions to take to save moms' lives. And so I've introduced a piece of legislation called the Momnibus, which is that evidence-based solution to end this crisis.
So what do you think, Tonya?
It's actually a really big part of um, saving lives right now. The legislature talks about providing intervention, listening. The best intervention is actually doing nothing but listening. And so if a client doesn't feel heard or seen or valued, their their um their chances of dying increases, if I can say it that way. There's always medical intervention. And I think COVID woke everybody up. It could be like your neighbor, it could be like a family member, but it's also Serena Williams and other people that are throughout this country that have experienced that same thing, regardless of their income, regardless of their zip code. And so the legislation is putting into practice what we know is best policy. So I think that it's important and we support it. And it's the work that we do on the ground, but they are creating legislation to protect us at the state and federal level as well.
So I have a
All right.
fear.
Anybody else?
I do. I have something. I have a fear of some of the things y'all see as doulas because my stomach. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could that I could. I used to. I always wanted to be a help to people. I just could never be on the front lines of medicine because of the things y'all see. Whew, y'all strong. Y'all strong lady.
Oh, it's amazing. Let me tell you, it is one of the most sacred parts of our rites of passage. And when we're talking to people in the community, whether they're pregnant or not, let me tell you, it's your birthright to give birth if you would like to. Like if there's ways to do that. But let me
Mhm.
tell you, there's a lot of things you see. And I almost cry at every birth. I will tell you that because it is so sacred. But the other thing is that I'm watching and I'm prayerful and I'm ready to step up and ask questions and help my client ask questions. And it is a love. Not everybody would love it, but you could still be a part of like the birth community or the maternal health community because not everybody will want to be a doula, but there are ways to sign up. So we could talk about that later if you're interested. But there are other ways. We need to get back to our aunties and our grandmas and sitting with each other and teaching. And this is what I had as an experience. And having the younger generation hear us and learn from us and also grow from the things that have changed. And there's so much access to care, and during COVID, people were like, I'm not going to the hospital. I'm not sick. I'm going to have my baby in another way. And so we had to switch up. We're now on a virtual call because we can't go to people's homes. People are giving more births in birthing centers. And it just really shed light on how poor our mortality rates were, especially during COVID. People were like, no way. I'm not taking that shot. I'm not doing this either, and I got questions. And so people are have been asking more, and good for us to be able to say, you know what? I stand with you to get the answers that you need. I've had people fire their doctors. I know several people that went home to have birth because they were not satisfied with their care, or to get a second opinion because they were not satisfied with their care. And so, yes, you might see us as strong, but let me tell you, it is also important for us to have other people that support us. So, aunties and grandmas are so important, which is something that I do push because I'm an old soul. I was raised with my grandparents. And yes, my parents were there too, but my grandparents were like the law. And so, you grow up knowing that there's a multi generational way that we take care of each other and that we can help keep each other safe and alive and raise our babies in a good way.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And you know what? I will tell you, there's a doctor there that I follow, Dr. Myhan. I think that's how I pronounce her name. She is a sister and a doctor at Cook County, and I follow some of her work, like her research. Let me tell you, access to quality care is not a given. Just because we live in the most industrialized world, there are people that have like food insecurity. There's food deserts right here in our communities, right? There's housing instability and there's other stressors. So those disparities put us at higher risk as well. So when we put in legislation such as the Momnibus that supports fair and equal housing, that supports, I want fresh fruits and vegetables. I met a sister in Chicago just recently. They have this black farming and they've been doing it. So it's not something new, but it's getting back to those things of growing our own food and
Yeah.
eating more healthy and unprocessed. Those are the ways that we take our power back. But
Yeah.
that access to quality care and quality food and equal fair housing and quality hospitals. You guys know there's hospitals that have closed down in our neighborhoods.
Yes,
So
it
then
is.
people are trying to
Mhm.
find other places, right?
Yes.
So those are things that have been barriers. And so what we're trying to do is create more safe neighborhoods. And we all are definitely trying to find solutions for that. And then accessing that healthcare that they need. If they don't like the provider and they try to address it, you can get a new one. And I listen, I know sisters that will fire their doctor in a minute. And I love that about us because sometimes that's necessary.
Hmm. You know what? It was a question. You might have said it and over didn't hear it, but do you all follow being a doula? Do you all go into the delivery room with the client or what?
Good question. And so ideally, my ideal client comes, we get to meet each other around 27 weeks. It doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes it's at 35, sometimes it's at 18. But when I get like 27 weeks and we get to meet someone, you get to develop that relationship. You get to find out what they're interested in. You get to find out what their family dynamics are, what some of those other barriers might be: food, clothing, housing, transportation, childcare, will I have a job after this? So we get to build those relationships prior to. And so having meeting someone at 27 weeks is great because you get to talk about what's the baby doing in utero, how are you feeling as far as changes, and we address them, right? Open, honest, sometimes funny, sometimes sad. You have to have a personality to love people. And by the time we get to a delivery room, they're more comfortable. They feel strong, or they can ask their partner, listen, rub my feet, stop talking, turn the TV down, those kinds of things. Hold my hand. Um, don't stand right by my waist because I don't want you to see what's happening. Stand by my shoulder, which we use all the time because their partners, once they see it, they can't unsee it. So we
Right.
know, hey, stand by the shoulder because you can support her and talk to the person in their ear and look at them or what have you. We're in the labor and delivery room. Yes,
Okay.
COVID made that tricky, but we kept pushing. So when we were able to, we were in person. As soon as they let those restrictions out, we went right back into the delivery room. And then the postpartum room, because that golden hour after delivery is so important for bonding. And let me tell you, there's magic that happens there.
Oh yeah.
And I need to see and make sure that you're alive, the baby's alive, and this moment I can capture pictures or I can just
Mhm.
witness it. And
That's
so we usually
beautiful.
stay about an hour up to 2 hours after, as long as there's no complications.
Right.
And then we stay with the client through postpartum. Some people do 4 weeks, some people do 8 weeks. And as they return to their regular duties, school, work, other responsibilities.
That's beautiful because I can remember a time when I was in the labor room when I had my son that his dad passed out.
Yes,
He passed out. You know, he passed out right in the delivery room. So, uh,
yes. And
you
then you
know,
got to try to help him. Like there are people that are in the hospital bed trying to coach their partner. Hey,
right,
if you're gonna be sick, make sure you eat. Make sure, and we will tell them, don't you fall out. So that's something we can say before we actually get in there. Or if they
right,
do feel like they don't want to watch those things, we have them do something. To go get her some of that ice. That chipped ice that's so
right.
good at the
Mm,
hospital. Go do that. And so one of the moms, like our hormones are high, and people may say a lot of things, while
yeah,
they're getting ready to
yeah.
deliver. And I
I
tell
understand.
partners, don't take it personal.
Right.
Don't take it personal. Forgive them. They may yell at you or cuss or other. Don't take that personal. They're going through a lot. Some of the things people, we don't even remember what has happened in labor and delivery.
Hmm.
Yeah,
One
Definitely.
so that
one
does
thing.
happen. We do have people that fall out every now and then.
Okay. Okay, ladies. We got about 12 minutes left in the show. I'm gonna do one more commercial. We're gonna come back and close this out. This was wonderful. Thank you so much, Tanya.
This is rich. Thank you.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, you guys, this has been a wonderful show. D Woo, you have any closing comments?
I just want to say that doulas, I think, are kind of undervalued in a lot of ways. And I think it's just lack of knowledge. So I appreciate you coming out and empowering us with some information that some of it I did know, some of it I didn't know. But I just think it's wonderful that you guys have the spirit of truly being selfless, because y'all are true givers at heart. That's really what that job is giving of yourself. So I appreciate you and respect what you do.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And I'm piggyback off of D Woo. Tanya, you are truly amazing. What you do for the community is truly amazing. I applaud you because just like D Woo said, there's no way that I could do it in that sense. You know what I'm saying? There's no way. No way. But it's a tough job. Well, somebody got to do it. And you have the strength You have the power, you have the determination to keep pushing for these women, and I love it. And anything that we can do to be of support of you outside of the delivery room, count us in. Come on, Queen Sue.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nah, yeah, like I said, I could just be in totally agreement with the rest of the Aisha sisters on you showing up for this program today and educating us fully on what a doula does. And it was very educational. It was heartfelt. It was beautiful. And knowledge is power. And I'm gonna keep on saying that. And like this is all uh arranged with God that all of this took place so that we could get out the information to each and every one that we have a platform for to let them know how important you are to our community and to the women out there that's going through something that they might not ever understand, because there's some people that be having babies that don't even know what's going on, period. So this is
Yeah.
a big plus, and I'm gonna repeat myself again. Knowledge is power. And I thank you that God blessed you with that inside and this beautiful spirit that you have from when I met you. Thank you so much.
Okay, Tanya, close us out. What would you like to say in parting?
Oh, honey, I feel so blessed. So thank you all. You don't know, sometimes in your spirit, when you know that you meet other people that love the way that your heart beats. When I met Queen Sonia, I did not know who she was. She didn't know who I was. And then we met and we got to talking, and I love circles. She didn't know that I did circles in Minnesota prior to as a social worker, but in the community. I was a community organizer, and they had to convince me to apply for some social worker job. And I said, well, listen, I have to be in the community and in the street. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. So this circle that you do is so important. So you are the aunties and the grandmas and the loved ones that are
Hmm.
helping to educate and support. So for that, I thank you. I
Hmm.
heard someone say like that we're really strong. Let me tell you, I'm a bridge. I'm in competition with nobody because
Yes.
whoever whatever God gives me as gifts, they're mine to freely share. We
Yes.
are small business owners as well. So
Hmm.
that's new, right? Coming from nonprofit and moving up the ladder and then starting a small business. This is an honor, but it's also a business. So we're educating the community around moms and other persons starting businesses and supporting businesses. We just did a brunch and paint yesterday for
Hmm.
black breastfeeding. So those types of things, I love that. And I just love sisters, and I love the way that we show up and the way that we support. Now there's so many I trained with Dona International, and so they're a huge organization, but there's a National Black Doulas organization, and I'm a member of the Black Doulas, period. And so there's so many ways to get involved, even if you don't want to be a doula. But the
Hmm.
other thing is, Chicago guides us in so
Yeah.
many things. So if you know people that need a doula, all they have to do is go to Cook County or to one of the nonprofits. There's several that provide doulas. But let me
Mm.
tell you, it's more in the circles that we heal. Isolation kills, community heals. And I live that practice. And when we're hurting, mental health, domestic violence, and other doulas, we're here to help also. But we need you. We need circles. We need options and resources. So thank you for letting me be a part of this. Mental health and maternal health is every day for me. Because as I also manage mine, I want to encourage the next sister to manage hers.
Yes, well, not trying to cut anybody off. Sister Honey and Sister Fatima, we have a show which she probably mentioned to you about mental health. And
Yeah.
if you want to do something to add something to help us along the way, our hands are open to you, supporting you 100%. And I just thank God for you and all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
You
God
was
bless you. Thank you.
Tonya, give us your contact information.
Absolutely. And I have to be told to tell about myself, but I'm getting better. Um, so the business is Quad City Sankofa Birth Services. The website is like my virtual home, www.qcdoula, doula.com. Email is qcdoula1@gmail.com. Best number to reach me, I have a doula delivery number. That's for clients and 24-hour prior and birth. That's 563-639-1711. My office number is 563-549-1871. And let me tell you, we travel. So I've had a birth in Huntsville. I've had a birth in California. We've had a couple support virtual Minnesota, and so we do travel. I have a love for Chicago that I can't even explain. But we're a smaller town, right? But we will travel. I will support your business. I'd love to volunteer and help out when I can as well. And you guys have to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, get ready because we have a Million Moms March coming October 16, 2025. So we want you to be in support of us and come on and join up with us. The force together, they will have to reckon with us.
I love it. I love it. And I'm gonna get some sisters together so we can come up together and we
All
are
right.
united.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank-
so much for having me.
You're
Now, if you
welcome.
would like more information on how to be a guest on our show, please contact us via email at aishasisters@gmail.com. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Aisha Sisters Podcast. Um, we definitely have a bunch of things going on, like Queen Sue said, Million Mile March 2025. We have our mental health support group starting back up every Tuesday on Google Meet, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. No, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. That starts back up September the 5th. We have the Pillow Talk with the Aisha Sisters, hosted by Sister Fatima and the Sisters. That is every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's broadcast live on our YouTube channel, the Aisha Sisters Podcast, and it's broadcast live on Pillow Talk with the Aisha Sisters and the Aisha Sisters Facebook group. Also, we have a Peace and Love cruise coming up that is slated for October 31st, 2024. You still have time to lock in those rooms. I think it's $25 per person. Uh, Email peace and P&L cruise 2024@gmail.com. Am I forgetting anything that we have going on, Queen?
Yes.
To close out. What else?
You forgot to let them know about your pricing list that the Aisha Sisters have for different things that we offer to them for your services.
Right on. Thank you, Queen. We also have Aisha Sisters Productions. We do flyers. If you would like to have us play your commercial, we offer prices for that. Um, if you would like to host your own podcast, we offer streaming services. Email us once again at the Aisha Sisters at gmail.com for more information. Thank you so much, you guys. This has been beautiful. Our next episode will be streamed live Sunday, September 10th, with me, Queen Sue, Rashonda, and Beth. Thank you guys so much. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Love.
Peace and love. Thank you.
Peace and love. You're welcome.